In his extension, his renewal with this team. Yesterday we discussed how Chelsea was severely interested in him. Today, Nicolo Schira is confirming that an agreement is close and that DYBALA is about to renew his contract. We'll speak about the details of his renewal of contract, speaking about the release clause, if it gets cancelled or not. We're also going to speak about Darboe today. Darboe went on loan to Austria. And I'm also gonna talk about, because it feels like there's a little delay in our transfer window right now. I feel like a lot of people feel like there is a delay. We're not buying players. We have stopped buying players after the players we bought in the first phase of our transfer window. So yeah, we're gonna speak about that delay, and then I'm gonna end the stream speaking about DePaul, because DePaul is yet another name which has kind of popped up on the news today. And yeah, we will speak about that. But let's start with DYBALA, because that's the biggest news today. Now, I'm going to start off with this. Nicolo Schira, transfer market Serie A expert, has tweeted this. Today, Paulo DYBALA is getting closer to extend his contract with AS Roma until 2026, with an increase in his salary to 6 million per year plus bonuses. Expected a meeting with his agent Jorge Antun in the next days to try to close the agreement. Roma also want to delete the release clause. So yeah, I mean, look, this agreement is close. As he said, there will be a meeting between Thiago Pinto and Jorge Antun, his agent, next week. DYBALA has prioritized Roma, and this, you know, from the second he actually witnessed that presentation back in July last year, he understood that this is his destination, this is his location, this is his team. He's loved here. He's kind of felt like a king, as a god. He is back feeling important. He is obviously the clue player of this team. He's the player which is at the center of everything. So DYBALA's kind of revitalized with this Roma move. He does not want to move to Chelsea. He said no to Chelsea. One of the reasons we discussed yesterday is because he himself knows. He's a smart lad. He knows that the Premier League requires too much energy for him. He's injury prone. Premier League is very high rhythms, very high schedules. So Premier League is not for him. And obviously, you always have the Saudi path, but DYBALA's not dumb. DYBALA doesn't put money on top of everything. Of course, he will go to Saudi, but not now, because he wants to be a big part of European football still, even if he's not going to play the Champions League next season. So we're gonna sit down. We're gonna sit down with DYBALA's agents to try and convince him to hire that. To put pen on paper, which is very close. And let's speak about the details of this, because obviously his salary would increase. Rightly so. His salary would go from 4.2 million to 6 million plus add-ons. So plus some bonuses, which I think would happen if we qualify for the Champions League. Obviously, if we were to win the league, there were going to be some bonuses and all of that. So DYBALA's salary would be and kind of turn into one of the highest in this team. Rightly so. You know, it's deserved. He is the reason why we are playing in the Europa League next season. He's a big reason of why we've played in Budapest this year. So he is, if there's one player which deserves an increase in wages, it's definitely him. But obviously, the big debate around DYBALA's extension is around the release clause. Now, I'm going to spend a few minutes on this, because I think it's important to spend a few minutes on this. Now, DYBALA's got a release clause of 12 million euros for Italian teams and 10 million euros for Premier League or outside teams, outside of Italy teams. That is, as we've mentioned all the way through yesterday's live stream, it is absolutely criminal. That release clause has to be eliminated. That release clause has to be terminated from his contract. Because yes, DYBALA is not in his prime anymore, but DYBALA is worth even more than 12 million as things stand. Now, you know, we are very lucky that his will is to stay in Rome. His demand is to stay here, work with Mourinho, keep on playing for Roma. And we're lucky that's the case, because if we had a player who did not want to stay with us more seasons, that release clause would have been triggered straight away. There are teams out there which trigger that release clause just like, it's just like nothing. There are teams which have been interested in Dybala. A lot of Premier League teams have been interested in Chelsea, Man United. All of these Premier League teams which are interested in Dybala and have been interested in Dybala could have easily triggered that release clause if the player didn't want to stay. So obviously the main reason of why we are here speaking about him extending his contract is because he's happy here. He's felt loved, and he knows that this love, this affection that he's gained at the Olimpico in Rome will be unmatched. He won't get it anywhere else. But that release clause, we gotta get it away. We gotta get it away because let's say we qualify for the Champions League and Dybala has a wonderful season this season, just like he's had his first year. If Dybala has a season where he gets, let's say, 15 goals and 5 assists, or 15 assists and 10 goals, they're gonna trigger that release clause at the end of next year. And if we qualify for the Champions League, Dybala needs to remain a priority. So the biggest thing about his extension and him us studying, Pinto, I say us, Pinto studies and meets with his agents. Pinto, you gotta get that release clause away, because that release clause is a steal for anybody who gets Dybala. And it's a scary one because teams can do it, teams have got the financial power to do it, and if teams really want him, they won't hesitate to trigger it. So I do think the first thing when we sit down with his agent is discuss about this release clause. You're probably asking yourself, why was it inserted in the first place? It is understandable to insert a release clause that low in a world-class player's contract, because Dybala, going from Juventus to Roma, in Dybala's original mind and according to the logics, is a step down. Because, Dybala with Juventus has won so many league titles. Dybala with Juventus has played in 2 Champions League finals. So going from Juventus to Roma is a step down. And he joined a team which was not even playing in the Champions League. So there are a lot of doubts around Dybala. Will I be happy here? Will I be happy even if this team doesn't reach the Champions League? So it is very understandable that we did put a very low release clause, because if Dybala wanted to leave, to accelerate him signing the contract, then the release clause had to be low. Because then he knew that, okay, I'm going to try this new experience. Worst case scenario, there is going to be a big club which won't hesitate and trigger that release clause. And that, I think, is the scenario, the context behind this release clause being very, very low, because it is too low. It's very low. So eliminate this release clause, higher his wages, extend the contract, everybody's happy. And look, if we qualify for the Champions League next season, imagine Dybala playing the Champions League with Roma, in Rome, at the Olimpico. So, you see, it's again, if we don't qualify for Champions League, I struggle to believe Dybala will stay. Because, affection and love is important in football, but so is success. And for a player like Dybala, you need to play Champions Leagues day in, day out, week in, week out, year in, year out. So if next season we don't qualify for the Champions League, which, may I add, would be a catastrophe because we would miss out on yet another Champions League, I have many doubts that Dybala will stay. But yeah, step by step, contract now, and let's link him and handcuff him to Roma. Also, as we mentioned before, Darboy is off on loan to Austria. He has signed a contract with Lask from Austria. Loan move. This is a loan move. We have not lost a gem. This is a loan move with an not an obligation to buy back. Sorry, this is a loan move with an option to buy at around 2/3 million. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him because I rate him, and I have rated him when we played with Fonseca. Then obviously he got the injury, the ACL injury, which didn't help his career, being very young. But look, I think it's good for him because because he gets game time. He gets game time, and if he gets a lot of game time and starts playing well, we can always get him back. We haven't lost a gem. We've just given the opportunity for a potential gem to play more, and then come back being more evolved and more experienced. So I think this is a good move. I think it's a good move for us. It's a good move for him. For us, it kind of liberates and frees up a space. Now, the space that DYBALA is going to leave will not necessarily be replaced with a signing, because he barely ever played last season. But replacing DYBALA there could be another young gem. You know, Pisilli, Faticanti, these are all players which are currently playing the under-19s and lost 5-1 against Portugal yesterday. These are all very interesting prospects from our backyard. So it kind of, and this is kind of the philosophy of Roma. You know, grow players, loan players out. Sometimes we make mistakes, just like we've made with Fratesi, giving him out. But this is a philosophy which has always marked Roma. Freeing spaces, loaning players out, kind of promoting more players from the youth. And I do think this season Pisilli, Faticanti and all of these players will be promoted. We've seen it with, what's his name, Bove last year. We've seen it with Zaleski a few years ago. So there are definitely going to be more gems from our academy which are going to be promoted by Jose this season. Also, De Paul, obviously, I can see Loazzi in the chat being hyped by De Paul. I am also very hyped by De Paul because I think he's a perfect player we need. He's that Argentinian, passionate player that we need. De Paul, after reading the De Paul rumours, I can officially say that De Paul is by far the best player from that midfield section that we've been linked with. This is a very complicated move because... not because of his wages. Some people are saying wages. De Paul earns around 3.5 million at Atletico Madrid. That's not much. Belotti earns more than that at Roma. So I don't think his wages is the problem. Problem is, we, just like we did with DYBALA, have to convince him to join a team which is not playing the Champions League. De Paul would be class. I have always been an admirer of De Paul. And I think, Atletico Madrid want to sell him permanently. The price tag is around 20 million. I think we can make this sacrifice. 20 million is good money on a player like De Paul. If I were Thiago Pinto, I would do this. Again, I'm not getting my hopes up because I got my hopes up with Fratesi and then I got deluded. I'm not going to put my hopes up. But I can say that he's a great player. However, I was reading the news today about some articles about De Paul, and you see, when I say the media and what journalists write sometimes makes no sense, listen to this. I was reading an article about De Paul today, and this article was effectively saying that De Paul was a suggestion for Roma. De Paul had been offered, and Roma want De Paul, but then in the same article, they said it's impossible. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. I read an article today which said how De Paul is a big target for Pinto and Mourinho, and the same article said it's an impossible deal. That's like, when you go play football, it's summer, you come back home, you're all sweaty, you want to eat, and you enter in the kitchen and your mum is cooking some food. She's already preparing the food. She already knows what she's going to cook for you. And then suddenly she asks you, what do you want to eat? And you say, a hamburger. But you know that you can't eat that hamburger because she's already cooking the food. So why is my mom asking me what I want to eat if she already knows what to cook? That is how irrelevant that article was. Because look, at the end of the day, how can suggestion, I want a player, link well with being impossible? It's two completely different things. Again, he's not the only option because we've prepared a list of options. We've got him, we've got Sabitzer, we've got McTominay, we've got what's his name, Renato Sanchez. We are providing a lot of names. Out of all of these players, I do think the players which maybe we are working a bit more intensively for, I would say are De Paul, Sabitzer, and maybe in the backstage of everything, Renato Sanchez. But out of De Paul and Sabitzer, like, is it even a debate? Like, I've said it in the WhatsApp forum earlier. It's like asking somebody, would you rather take a swim in the River Nile? Or would you rather take a swim in the ocean of Bora Bora? Like, De Paul is miles better. So, again, De Paul is one of the players which the media should have never launched, because now all of these fans are hyped up because of us being linked with De Paul. Don't be hyped up, because, again, the most probable scenario is that he won't join for us. There's always that chance. Apparently he's been offered to us, but you never know with all of these names. You never know. We get linked with too many names. And that's, again, to kind of explain this delay in the transfer window, because I'm reading Twitter comments and people are very worried about Thiago Pinto not buying players. I think we've done the first phase really, really well. You know, we've bought players. And I think we've slowed down now because we need a bit more patience, because we're finding the opportunity to kind of prepare the assault. And I do think it would be kind of wrong to... I know it's important to get Mourinho players early for preseason, and I truly believe that. But it's also wrong to get players fast and not thinking about the deals just to get them quick into preseason. So, you know, the more complicated deals definitely need more time, definitely need more effort. That's exactly why we are seeing this delay. Also, I think this little delay is because Pinto wants to finalize the last little details of Llorente and Christensen to kind of shut the door out to Leeds United. Bye-bye, I've got the two players I want. See you next time. And then after these two signings, maybe we can focus on more signings. We will focus on more signing, and that's kind of my justification of this delay. Maybe Thiago Pinto's preparing a massive surprise that he's secretly working behind the scenes. We don't know. But again, I tend to say don't worry now, because we've just started. And I know, I just said we need players quickly. I believe that, and I agree with that. But you know, there is no need to be worried, because transfer window started 7 days ago. 7 days is a lot, but you know, we've got plenty of time left. Our defense is complete. We've already completed our defense. We don't need any more defenders, apart from wing backs. And yeah, by the way, is anybody who's planning to get a jersey? Who are you getting on the back? I wanted to get Mancini, but I've got too many friends who got Mancini now. I want to be original. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking to get Bove, if you ask me. I want to get Bove, and I want to convince my dad to get Matic. Father and son. Matic and Bove. Father and son on the pitch. Father and son in the family. So I am most probably going to get Bove. I'm in love with that boy. But yeah, let me know who you're planning to get if you're getting a jersey. Dybala just arrived, in my view. I don't think he joins Roma just to leave some seasons. Yeah, fair point. But, you know, Dybala is a Champions League player. So if we don't qualify for Champions League, we can't expect Dybala to stay longer. You know, he needs Champions League football, especially because he's going to play a few more years, but then he's not going to be the player he is, and he was. So it's his last peak years, I think. How about the 19-year-old kid we were linked with today, Diarra? I watched the video and he looks amazing. Yeah, again, it's a future signing, but we can't just rely on a 19-year-old. You know, I agree. We need more than one midfielder, just like we need more than one striker. Ideally, we would get somebody like De Paul of his caliber, and then maybe get a young player like him, grow, develop. But yeah. Are there news for Zaha? I don't think we ever tried Zaha, to be honest with you. I think Lazio is closer to Zaha than Roma. Dybala could convince him. That's a good point. Not loving McTominay. I'd much prefer Sabitzer or Kamada. Obviously, De Paul is the dream. I agree. But I would put McTominay over Sabitzer. I'm not a big fan of Sabitzer. French media said Mourinho priority is Sanchez, as they both are Portuguese. I would not be surprised. I mean, look, we've got a lot of names. So we'll see who we'll get. But as we've said yesterday, it's either going to be Sorry, as we said yesterday and repeated today, the dream would be to get 2 midfielders and two strikers. That's hard, and I know it's hard, but we need 2 strikers. We need 2 strikers. We need 2 strikers. Like, that is how desperately we need more than 1 striker. Midfielders, we can do with 1 if it's a good one. For example, if we buy De Paul, then obviously I'm not expecting to buy yet another midfielder. But ideally, we do need 2 and 2. But again, we'll see what happens. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna catch you tomorrow. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Any news with us getting a new goalkeeper? No, haven't read any new goalkeeper news in these past weeks. So yeah, if you haven't already, go back and watch. I posted a video earlier today speaking about kind of giving the best lineup of Roma that I've ever seen. I created the best lineup that I've ever seen. So make sure to watch that video and like that video and enjoy that video. What is happening with the stadium? Are there any news? I do think it's going to happen, just nothing has started yet. And yeah, I'm going to catch you tomorrow. Take care. Enjoy your Friday night. And by the way, smash the like button, please. Supports a lot. And subscribe if you are new. I'm going to get a jersey with Simo on the back. What's your thought? Do it. If you do it, you're the GOAT. If you do it, you're the GOAT. If you do it, send me an email. Send me a picture if you do it. But yeah, catch you soon. Simo.